Hey, what's going on? E. Jones, bottom to the top hoops.
You already know it's your boy, Black Elvis.
Hey, L, man. We got an interesting topic this week, but before we get into that, let's definitely shout out T-Mobile. Make sure all of the people subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple TV. Check out the content and subscribe to the YouTube page. Hey, a big milestone, man. 10K followers on the YouTube page, man. Speak about it, man. Yes, yeah. 10K subscribers. Talk a little bit about that journey, man. That's a big accomplishment, man.
Hey, man, just trying to be consistent and just trying to provide the best content that we could put out there, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Big accomplishment. Kudos to you, all of the work that's been done to this point. Shout out to team, D Jones, Jerry Ice, everybody on the team, bottom to the top city legends. Who you shouting out, L?
Shout out God.
So look, man, we talking New York City basketball, L. And we always come at it from a different angle. And this week, the angle I wanted to attack was to speak directly to the parents and the student athletes who are after scholarship opportunities, be it the Division I or Division II level, NAIA, small college basketball, JUCO, or Division III that gives merit-based and academic scholarships. I feel like we're in a different time and it's calling for different measures and people need to be armed with the information, Al. What's your thoughts?
A lot of people, if you're not informed, then guess what? You're disinformed, so you don't know.
Yeah, and you're going to make a decision based on that information that you have.
Yeah, like today's topic, like you told me, you got to hit in the email, which was a major thing. And, these are all things that we constantly put out there to the people. We want to bring up topics that you want to talk about. We want to give you the information that you need, So with that being said, kind of go into it and give the spill.
Okay, man. So we're in a pandemic. Everybody knows that. We have been since late March. It's affected a lot of things. Everybody should know that the NCAA guidelines have been changed. Kids who are in the 2021 class are not required to have the SAT scores to receive an athletic scholarship for Division I or Division II. That is an NCAA rule. And also, you do still have to have the 10 core classes passed before your 7th semester starts, and you still have to have the minimum 2.3 GPA in your core classes. That is still a requirement, with 16 core classes passed by the end of your 8th semester. That is still intact. So 2021s, don't not take the SAT, don't not try to get better, don't not study, but just understand that it's not a requirement by the NCAA, but some of those universities and colleges still may require you to have certain scores to get into some of the better, more higher academic schools. So, L, let's just talk on that, touch on that for a second. Now that the kids don't have the requirement, what do you think the mindset is and what should it be?
I honestly feel it should be more now basically about just GPA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And focusing on that and focusing on your out of the classroom stuff, which is on the court stuff. Like, you have an opportunity now to really kind of like sharpen your skills. And that's on the academic side and the basketball side.
Right. So continue to work. Now, with regards to scholarship, L, the kids haven't played in the AAU season. And people were creative. We talked about it on previous shows in terms of people creating events, even in the pandemic where people caught the coronavirus at events. Regardless of what, people find a way to get it done. They had events, they did things, kids got exposure, they streamed events, some people came to events live. But the college coaches were not allowed to attend. So one of the effects of that is that I saw a couple of kids, namely AJ Griffin, who committed before the pandemic, right? Early on in the school year. And then you just saw most recently Malachi Smith committed to Dayton. Now,
shout out to both of those boys too, man, and their families.
Yeah, congratulations on that commitment. So I had to think that our guy O and his wife and Malachi's parents, they had to be thinking, all right, cool. He had a great sophomore year. He's picking up a lot of interest. He didn't play any AAU basketball this summer. And they had a familiarity with Dayton from their relationship with Scoochie. They were on him hard. They recruited him. They did the right thing. Like, it was a fit. And they thought to themselves, let's take this because we don't know how this is going to play out. And now ultimately the kid can relax his senior year in terms of the pressure on making that decision and focus on academics, working on his game, and then potentially a season. So
Well,
go ahead, El.
well, I mean, like you said, it just opens up the game as far as for, a lot of kids are under pressure right now, man.
Yeah.
And it just opens up the game for you. It opens up, like, just being able to now concentrate and know the direction you're going in. You know what I mean?
Really?
It's real hard right now for a lot of these kids because it's like, the corona threw a major monkey wrench in the game. But at the end of the day, that's why you got the email. And you know what I mean? We need to really go in about it because a lot of these kids don't know. They might be looking, saying, I'm going to wait to the 9th inning. But, dude, if you're not one of those top kids like that, you can't really be sitting around waiting because that opportunity could go. You know what I mean? And I want you to kind of, elaborate more on it.
So I'm fortunate, El, because people see the work that I do, whether it be on, social media or the stuff that I update college coaches about in terms of kids signing, who's available. And that's kids that I help or kids just in New York City, kids in general around the country. And a college coach said to me, he said, E, I see all of the great work that you're doing, and I just want to give you a heads up. Right now, it's a different day and time. We're not able to, this is Division I coach, we're not able to go out and see kids, and they're not going to lift that restriction for a while. Everything's based on, the health officials and the school being comfortable letting the coaches go out. So if you have kids that have solid offers, tell them, number one, to do the research on the school. Get on Zoom call with the coaching staff. Speak to past players or current players and their families about their experience at the school. Take a virtual tour. Do your homework on the schools and all of the schools that are recruiting you so you can make an informed decision. And his advice was, if you got somebody you like and you're waiting to get a bigger, better deal, you're making a mistake in his opinion. Because at the end of the day, that bigger, better deal oftentimes doesn't happen. And then a kid can find himself dropping a level or maybe two because they feel like they're waiting for something better when in fact they kind of knew that the place they were really wanting to go, was offering them and wanted them. And then what happens is, El, you go through the process, then you try to circle back and say, I'm ready. And then that school has moved on.
Yeah.
And now you're stuck. And I've had it happen with some kids, man.
Okay, got you.
So that was the nature of the email.
So, your advice as far as what would you do if you was a kid and you was in your junior year, you had one real major and you had about 5 or 6 mid-majors, but 2 of those mid-majors were really on you. They want you to come in and start. They want you to spearhead the program, and I know maybe 2 kids in this situation. I know you know way more,
Well, here's the advice that I would give. First and foremost, go through your options. See who best fit you in terms of what you want to major in, what the school offers, what kind of demographic is at the school, what's the diversity like. We're living in different times now, so you have to be conscious of everything. Again, we, like the coach said, speak to kids who've played for that coach, either at that school or maybe at a prior school that the coaches coached at. See what their experience was like. Look at style of play, right? Look at the relationships of the alumni, and what could you do if you don't play basketball, and what is the strength of that alumni to get you a job when you come out of college. That network is important. So it goes deeper than obviously the basketball side. Basketball is important, but I feel like kids need to gather information and pick a school that best fits you and not necessarily the highest level. Because I think that's what kids look for. And then, you turn around and you got thousands of kids in the transfer portal because people didn't do the due diligence and the homework. And that was pre-pandemic, Al.
Yeah.
So imagine how many people are going to make bad choices. Kids just aren't doing homework. They're just looking at a logo. They're looking at a TV game, and they're looking at, the followers that somebody has or a kid that made it to the league from there, and they automatically put themselves in that position. That kid's not you. Either it's a girl or a boy, whatever. That kid's not you. If you're a half court player and you're big and you're 6'9" and 260 and you like to get post touches and the team runs and presses and traps and gets up and down the floor, that's not a good fit.
Yeah.
So
doesn't matter if they're in a great conference. It's not a good fit.
You know what? Love who loves you. And if you got to go somewhere where the gym seats 3,000 as opposed to 15,000, but you're going to get 28 minutes as opposed to 12 minutes, like, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or you want to be a really small fish in a big pond and get swallowed up? Because those sharks out there bite.
Yeah.
And they don't wait.
Yeah.
And then you'll be on that show called reality TV.
Or reality check.
Yeah. Man. So, El, I want you to talk a little bit about, from a standpoint of being an editor and a videographer, you obviously see the game from two lenses. The one you see from when you're watching live and you're filming, then the one you see when you're editing. So you get to see these kids and evaluate them and actually say, like, man, that kid's, like, you see that he has offers from Georgetown and Duke, but he also has an offer from Virginia Tech and maybe a lower level school. Not even calling it lower level, maybe a mid plus. When you're watching those games, are you saying to yourself, man, this kid should probably, pick a school that maybe not as high profile, because I don't think they're ready?
Well, we go through that all the time, especially at the high school level,
Yeah.
Knowing these kids, and then it's time to make a decision, and they're like, no, I won't say a name, but I have a kid in mind, had a scholarship, but felt he was bigger than that, but wasn't willing to put the work in, wasn't willing to put that, like, he was almost like a con artist in a sense,
right?
And what goes on in the dark always gonna come to the light, because as time plays out, you might fool me in that first year, but year 3, you've been exposed.
Right.
And now, we see what it is. So with that being said, that kid really was a Division II player.
Right.
But everybody around him felt he was a Division I player, and I did too. Wishful thinking. But what we have to do now is start really dealing with reality. Yeah. Reality TV, like you said. And, I think more importantly, it's about the people who can handle the truth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, we all have the movie playing. You can never be the superhero in Elvis's movie. Wow. So with that being said, we have to be able to we have to be Picasso. We got to be able to look at the painting that we're drawing, step out of it, and evaluate it for a little while and say, you know what? Instead of going to this school, maybe I need to go, because I'll be the man.
Even if it's not in the beginning, maybe year 2. Well, El, I want to just touch on a point, man. Let me tell everybody this now. I'm willing to be the bad guy for the betterment of our New York City kids. What do I mean by that? I'm willing to give any kid and parent the truth to save their child a bad situation. So a lot of the times, coaches, mentors, people who advise will just kind of stay neutral. or go on the side of the parent in order to, I guess, be looked at as a supporter. So truth doesn't change. And I'm not saying that my word or my opinion or my evaluation is the truth, but my responsibility, if I'm saying I'm here to help a kid or kids in New York City, is to give them the truth for what I see. And that truth is usually based on some information from college coaches, some coaches around the city, high school coaches, because everybody sees these kids, especially the mainstream ones. So if 20 people says that kid's Division 2, and in your heart you say you're Division 1, I encourage you to go after your dreams. But at some point, you have to turn that corner in your senior year and give yourself some kind of a window and say, you know what, I want to make my decision by this time. And I'm going to take the best situation possible. Because you're going to draw it out and drag it out. And let's say a kid gets to Division 1. What's the odds that when you get there, you're going to have a good experience?
Yeah. What's the odds that the coach didn't backdoor you and recruited another point guard or another person that plays your position?
So, I mean, I deal with kids every day. And then, you know, they all figure they know more than you. You know, oh, coach don't believe in me. You know, man, yo, this dude don't know I've been killing. Or here's the best one, L. I played against Elvis. He's going to Duke. I killed Elvis. I should be going to Duke. The biggest misnomer, L. Like, that isn't because you got 20 layups against me and had 40, and you had, and the person you killed had 20, and they went 5 for 6 from 3, or let's say 4 for 6 from 3. L, the coaches are looking at skill set, aptitude, understanding of the game, basketball IQ, athleticism, ability to read defenses, how tall you are, how fast you are, how well you guard. That has nothing to do with your production in the game. Obviously,
No.
production matters, but that 20 you got that's layups are not going to translate to the Division 1 level. Or if you hit 7 threes, but you took 20, like, what I'm saying to you is understand how you're being evaluated, and only a small part of it is based on your production when they see you. They're not looking at what you do, they're looking at how you do it and who you're doing it against. So
Yeah.
that 40 against a great player is a good 40, right? They like, okay, he can play against good competition. That gives you something.
Yeah.
But if you got a bunch of free throws and layups, and they notice you can't shoot, and their offense is based on you making shots, guess what that makes you? A bad fit.
Mm.
And you're wondering, yo, what's good? Georgetown was here. Why they not offering me? There's no understanding of recruitment.
You know what's scary, E?
What's that?
AJ Griffin. We back, baby. New York is back. Stepanak has a program. We got to get them their props up there, man.
Yeah, man. They're bringing in kids. They're placing kids, high-level kids. They're winning. They're doing everything that a program would you would want to see. And let's just talk about historically, Stepanak has not been a powerhouse in the CHSAA, right?
Mm-mm.
So they made some changes. They brought in some coaching changes. They brought in Massaroni and Rod Swain, who are developing kids. And at the end of the day, good, bad, or indifferent, you have to respect what's going on. And they have a bunch of young kids that are gonna, and they got the kid Malcolm Chimenzi. I believe he committed to Boston University. So he's a 6'8" big, and PSA kid. I mean, it's not stopping. And I believe they got a 6'8" freshman coming in too.
Mm.
Yeah. But they're getting it done. But with regards to AJ Griffin, we talked about it. Number 9 player in the country by ESPN's rankings. He committed last year. That was his dream school. Now, Kentucky might have came along. Kansas might have came along, right? Those schools are all on the same level. But he's like, you know what? I got the grades.
I want to be a dookie.
That's the school I want to go to. The academics are there. High-level basketball, great coaching. What am I waiting for? I'm done. Y'all can play around if you want to, go on all these visits and run around the country and you know, have people calling your phone and be stressed out. Nah, I'm going to commit, work on my game, and work on, and guess what, Al? He might not even make it to do Yo, because my guy Rod Strickland definitely gonna be calling giving that family a call for that bridge program with the G League. NBA body, NBA skill set.
He fits the description.
Yo, he does, man. And so let me just cap it off by saying this, Al. Go where they love you. Go where they're gonna take care of you. Go where they have a fit for you academically and athletically. Let me put this out there, Ellen. I'm going to let you finish it off and speak to your story. I played at Lackawanna Junior College, which is a Division II JUCO in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Had some success. I went on to become a scholarship level athlete at Urbana University in Ohio, where I won 40 games in 2 years. I played with the Harlem Globetrotters. I played with the Harlem Wizards, played professionally for a short stint internationally. I say all of that to say I have 3 college degrees, not to brag, but just to give truth. All of the places I went wanted me, and they took care of me. And I did not graduate in the 4 years allotted. I had to go back. And then when I went back, they took care of me. They scholarshiped me. And not only that, they hired me as a coach, where I got this championship ring. I do have college coaching experience.
yo, that's why you look like you know what you're doing when you out there training up.
Yo, man. NAIA Division I school, Urbana University, which is no longer in existence. My heart is hurting, but I'm always a Blue Knight at heart. But I'm just telling these kids, man, I wanted to be a Division I player just like you. And I wanted my story to play out a certain way. But I made it to a professional level, 22 years, man, just following what my story was and understanding that this was going to be the best thing for me. I didn't believe it at the time, but I had some good people in my corner tell me, E, what's your options? Let's put it on paper. What makes sense? And although I didn't agree at the time, man, I wouldn't change one thing about my story. Speak a little bit about your story, Al, just to give them some perspective.
I want to really keep it on the kids.
Okay. But just, I mean, you were a Division I athlete, Al. So at the end of the day, you played, I'll tell a story. You played at King, you played at Sullivan, you went to Ulster too, didn't you, Al? Then you went to Texas Southern? So, Al, it's not always like, I'm sure you wanted to go to Temple out of high school.
I wanted to go to Villanova straight out of King.
So look, you played with Steph, you played with Reem Reed, you won a city championship. You probably thought you was a Division I kid.
Yeah. Well, nobody really knows this, but you know I won 3 chips out of 4 years. I didn't even realize that.
Speak to it.
Time.
Sometimes you gotta get on your soapbox, man. Speak to it, my brother.
That's why I was trying to be on the humble. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I want to keep it on the kids, man. When I did win a championship, shout out to that 90 team. That was Kareem Reed, Stephen McDowell, Kojo Lockhart, who was Boomer, Bernard Wheeler. Like they knew to shut that down, because it was going to be a movie.
That was real names you just dropped there in New York City.
Come on, man. All freshmen together, man.
So you won a chip at Scanlon, too?
We won a chip at Scanlon. We beat Regis, man, my sophomore year. Shout out to D.R. Davis. The first time they ever beat Regis, man. In the chip, I started at the point, man. Everybody was like, yo, Al, you a clown going to Scanlon. yo, you should have went to a better basketball school. But I went there and got their first chip ever.
As a sophomore.
As a sophomore, and it was unheard of at Scanlon for a sophomore to play varsity because it just didn't operate like that unless you play baseball.
And then you went on to King. How many
Then
years
I went to King. Huh?
How many years you was at King?
1 year.
One and done.
My senior year.
Yo, L, just I know you was honorable mention on City, man. Yo, L, how many points you average? That's the last thing I'm gonna ask.
19.
Say less, bro.
And an unselfish team, man. That team, like I have to say, honestly, you know, I've watched teams, I've played on teams, and what I've realized is when you can get kids to buy into something,
right,
it helps the kids more than they really think if it was all about them.
Yeah. And that's what this is. That's what we're talking about, to bring it full circle. Buy into your mentors, buy into the information that's in front of you, buy into who you are as a player and a student. And if you're real with yourself and honest, you'll make a good decision, and you won't find yourself, you know, in late August or September, you know, still looking for an opportunity to go to school. Man, jump on it quick, guys. If you got offers and you got a school you like, take it. Save yourself the headache and the heartache. Go get that free education, man, if you have the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Now, this is a great topic, man. I feel like we gave some great information. Thank you, as always, for giving your insight and going in your bag a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I appreciate it, man. Yo, it's E. Jones, Bottom to the Top Hoops. Shout out again to all of the people on the team. We appreciate y'all. Watch the episode on YouTube, BCOM TV, Spotify, or Apple TV, wherever you get your podcast, and make sure you subscribe to the BCOM TV on YouTube. Al, who you shouting out, bro?
Big shout out to the people, man. 10K subscribers, man. Really, you know, that's a milestone for us. You know what I mean? We'll keep going. So you already know. Shout out to God.
Yes, sir. We out, man. Bottom to the Top Hoops.